Hey everyone, and welcome to Maighstir Tarot. Thank you for joining me today. Really disappointed that I've had to come on today for not for the sake of you guys, just for the sake of the reason. And I would have been on earlier, except that it's my husband's birthday, so we had to go and see Maverick Top Gun. Much better than the first movie if you get a chance to see it. I went back and, as you would all know by now, and it just breaks my heart, is that Roe versus Wade has been overturned in the Senate, in the SCOTUS, the Supreme Court, and put back to the states. Now, I did a reading on this about 8 weeks ago or thereabouts. I read on it, and I am deeply ashamed to say that I had brought my biases to that reading. I was just so adamant that this couldn't possibly happen, but it has. I went back and had a look at that reading. The cards didn't lie. I was just bringing my wishfulness to the reading itself. If you go back about the 10.5 minute mark was the first reading I did on as to whether this bill would pass. And I quite clearly got several cards: the Devil, the High Priestess, etc., the Hermit, telling me straight out that it was under severe threat. And when I asked for clarifiers, I again got, for the Devil card that I first drew, I again got Devil, Hermit and High Priestess. But to my embarrassment and my shame, I didn't read them as Maighstir was trying to tell me. So I have learnt since then, through various means, and I wish I could have done that reading again now with the knowledge that I have. I did mention at the time the Women's Health Protection Act. I did see that it would get through the House. I didn't know whether it would get through the Senate, and on the 12th of May it failed to get through the Senate. So I had said at the time that the SCOTUS was waiting to see how that progressed. I really have to wonder how the heck these people can call themselves representatives of the American people when 75% of all people who were surveyed said that I think it was 80% support Roe versus Wade, not necessarily in its current form, but at least 70% didn't want it touched. 40% of women who have abortions are from either Catholic or evangelical backgrounds, very often red states. So these elected officials are just not representing the people. So I wanted to have a look. In my optimism, I had said that I would see the bill holding, but not in its current form. So I just want to see whether it will be reinstated. It's going to be a very dark time between now and then, and it really gets down to voting in November to ensure that, because it was, when it failed in the Senate, the Women's Health Protection Act, which was to put into law a woman's right to an abortion, it was all Republicans, the 50 Republicans plus Joe Manchin, the Democrat, who voted against it. All the Democrats except for Joe Manchin voted for it. So really need to get a Democrat majority, quite substantial majority in oh gosh, look, I just shuffled and look what was at the base in the houses to be able to force this sort of legislation through. But so I'm using my Maighstir Tarot, which is my family and friends deck, because it is such an emotive issue. I'm going to be very quick, off my hobby horse and onto the cards, off my soapbox and onto the cards. I want to have a look to see whether Roe v. Wade. Now, you've got Coney Barrett and Kavanaugh both said when they were up for nomination to the SCOTUS that they wouldn't touch Roe v. Wade. They both voted to throw it out. I have seen Kavanaugh out of the SCOTUS. I have seen Thomas out of the SCOTUS, both within 12 months. Quite pleased to see Roberts, as I predicted, voted to keep Roe v. Wade. And I did warn that last reading that Thomas, not necessarily Thomas, but if Roe v. Wade was overturned, then they'd then start coming for everything else, the gay marriage rights, the equality rights, the racism, you name it, they're going to start. And of course then Thomas then said, Roe v. Wade's just the first step, we're going to move on all these other ones. So Biden's come out and said that he will do everything within his power to reinstate it. Women are furious. Sorry, I'm furious. I can't believe I got that so wrong, but when I looked at the cards told me a completely different story compared to what I was saying, because I was bringing my bias. So put my bias to the side. Tell me, will Roe v. Wade be reinstated? Will it be reinstated? Will Roe v. Wade? Will women's rights to an abortion, it may not be Roe v. Wade, will it be reinstated? Women's abortion rights, will it be reinstated? Tell me, Maighstir. Okay, I'm calming down. Will Roe v. Wade be reinstated? I'm not telling you anything you don't know when you know that those who can afford will simply still be able to afford. This affects the disenfranchised and the poor and the minorities more than anybody, those that can least afford it. This has popped out. This is far from over. There is this flame of passion that we need to climb up towards, trying to get torn down, a lot of infighting. It's going to be a difficult path as we reach for this, what really is just a fundamental right. I mean, it's none of my business if somebody chooses to have an abortion. It's none of anybody's business. It's none of my business. Yeah, okay, thank you. Sorry, Maighstir. He's telling me to get on with the reading and settle down because I'm preaching to the converted here. There's nothing that I'm saying that you guys don't know already. So tell me, please, tell me, will women's abortion rights in any way be reinstated? Yes, but not yet. There's going to be this period of disappointment and loss. There is going to be loss of potentially loss of life, just feeling of despair before we go back and it is reinstated. Before we go back and it is reinstated. But I'll do a full reading on that. Tell me, Maighstir, full reading, please. Tell me, Maighstir, full reading, please. Full reading. Will a woman's right to abortion, I'm not even talking about all reproductive right, but will women's rights to an abortion be reinstated? Women's rights to an abortion be reinstated, Maighstir. Yeah, he keeps throwing cards out at me out of this deck. What do we get? Balance and moderation is going to have to be restored. There is no balance and moderation in the courts at the moment or in the government. It's going to have to be restored first. It's all about families. Ten of Pentacles. It's about the joy of children and the joy of families. and women, the independence of women, very much about the independence of women. A woman's right to choose the structure of her family. Tell me, Maighstir. Tell me, Maighstir. Okay, let's have a look. Right, Queen of Pentacles. I think you're going to see a lot of queens come out today. It's about the strength of the women. This is not just women's rights. This is women's health that is under attack here. Sorry, I just moved that. That was my Women's Health Protection Act note. Very much this is going to come down to women A, standing up, B, voting, C, demanding that they, as 51% of the population, be heard. And a lot of men support this bill too. There are men that are standing behind their women, and the men need to be seen as well. The men need to stand up as well. But this is very much about women's rights, the home, the security, the health, even their financial rights. I mean, having a baby is not a 5-minute occurrence. You've then got to care for that child for the next 18 years of its life. It's not cheap. But yeah, it's very much about feminine strength. Right, there is something that is going to happen really quickly. It is challenged by a swift movement forward, but also a period of chaos and uncontrolled chaos. So it's going to be challenged by this uncontrolled chaos. And here we have the Empress, the ultimate female in this deck. This is abundance, fertility, Mother Earth, bringing forward something new, and this is new in regards to women and the abundance, the pregnancy. You know, she's pregnant. This Empress, she's pregnant with the earth. Her wings are the emotions of water. She has the moon, and she's putting the pearls of the moon through her hair. Wealth, abundance, very much about the feminine in the past. Oh, yeah. Maighstir, I'm going to read these cards definitely as they come out, not like I did last time. In the past, there is this absolute despair as women feel like they're just constantly under attack. However, we do have this white dove of peace, and it did pass the SCOTUS. 5-4? There was just one, and two of those had said that they would never touch. But there is this dove of peace in here. But it is in the past. This has happened. We now need to lament, despair, but we need to take action. It is time for authentic reform. The death of this patriarchal dictatorship and a rebirth of this new luminous beginning. It is now a time of authentic reform. In the near future, it's going to be in the near future. It's going to be just traumatic. External influences have to do this, have to fight back against this in a planned manner. Please, no violence. But lobby your congressperson, lobby your house person, do everything you can to get the Democrats voted in this November. It needs to be done in a planned, orderly manner. We are at, being a 2, we are at a crossroads, and we need to decide what path we're going to take, and we need to plan for the future, for what future we want. Internally, we're just going to take a moment, step back, take a breath, and then we move forward again. This is about things being seen from a different point of view. Okay, thank you, Maighstir. What he's telling me is this action by the SCOTUS, and I think they tried to bring it through under the cover of the January 6th Commission. They think people are all distracted by what's going on in the January 6th Commission, so that's why they slipped it through at this stage, while everyone's getting up in arms and angry about Trump and his fraud lies and all the rest of it. This is why they've tried to slip it through, but it has been seen, and it's opening a lot of eyes that the SCOTUS, the Republican Party, they need to be seen from this different point of view. So that's internally. We need to just take a moment, take a breath, think clearly about what it is that you can do, even from us in Australia, what can we do, and then allow that light to shine. Hopes and fears. Here's this devil energy that I drew twice in that reading couple of months back. The toxicity, that's the fear, is being chained to this toxicity. Here was my card for Roberts last time. Here is the King of Wands. It's not necessarily Roberts in this reading, but this is the outcome. It's about the men standing firm and being inspiring with the line of strength. And I know it's a male line, but I'm always, the male line is usually sitting in the strength card with the female. So it reminds me very much of the female strength. But this is the men, the inspiring men, bringing forward the message of passion about this, lighting this flame for and on behalf of their women, because men get affected by this too. Seven of Wands. Going to have to, we're going to feel like we've been beaten up, and we have been. Women just beat down on women constantly, and also on the disadvantaged women mainly. Take a moment, take a breath, regain your strength. Out comes Seven of Swords. It's not going to happen soon. Seven of Swords, 7 months. Yes, we have January, 7 months, which is when the new government will be sworn in from those from the November election. But this is also, the Seven of Swords is also about betrayal, stealing, lies. This figure has killed and defeathered one of the crows of truth, so the crows are the swords, has skinned and defeathered the truth. Yeah. But look to new horizons. Look to new horizons. And there is going to come forward a new message of, well, this is both my think big and work hard card, but the Page of Pentacles is also carrying this page of financial security and health as a message, bringing forward a message that this is what it's all about. Base of the pack, we have the Lovers working together. 8 of Wands. Things are going to happen really quickly. So there's going to be a lot of information come out. Don't let yourself be sucked into it. Stay above it. Observe. take what action that you can take. Don't feel guilty about what actions you can't take, but observe this messaging. Don't let yourself be emotionally sucked into it. Do what you can. It's going to be a bit of a shit fight, excuse my expression, a bit of a shit fight, as an Australian term. And coming up are some cards that I have drawn previously in regards to this. Here you have the again, an extremely powerful feminine energy. There's a lot of women coming out in this reading. This is about seeing all, about the truth, about protecting, about the legal system. Walking away from what's not serving you, but walking towards new horizons, which reminds me of this death card. Walking towards new strength, new horizons. There is going to be some loss and disappointment before we receive victory. There will be a need to give and receive help. There will be need for circles of support, and here's my Biden card. So I believe there are some funds being set up for women who are in a situation where they can't afford to travel, where they can request funds to travel to get done what needs to be done. I gather I saw today that Macy's has extended their healthcare benefits to their female staff, so that if there isn't a facility within 100 kilometres or 100 miles of them, that they can take leave and have funding to travel to have this done. It's a call to arms, very much a call to arms and an inevitability. And then we have this Queen of Cups energy. Calm, diplomatic. There will be disappointment, but we will find this new balancing. And then we have the Nine of Wands, of new boundaries being set, but the only way it can be achieved is by working together. So it will be reinstated. I'll just see whether the cards can tell me when. I'll just change decks here. That was my it will, but it won't for about another 7 months. So no violence, please, but really make your voice heard and do what you can do. I'm sorry. What you'll find is a lot of these states where it will be outright banned, and I believe Texas is one of them. I have read that Beto will get in Texas. I think this is going to be the last straw for a lot of moderates and a lot of women. They already had the legislation sitting in the wings to come straight through in anticipation of this. Women in those states are going to need the support of all of us for the next at least 7 months. At least 7 months. Okay. Tell me, I'll just ask a different deck. I know I just asked it. Will women's rights to an abortion be reinstated? Sorry if I'm a bit quiet. I'm hiding in the bedroom today. I've got the family home. As I said, it's my husband's birthday. Or it was his birthday yesterday, but we went to the movies today. Tell me, will women's rights to abortion be reinstated? What have we got flinging out here? 2 aces. Truth, health and strength, justice, dove of peace, this is almost, it's almost like the feminine and the masculine aces standing together for a new beginning. You've got the Dove of Peace behind the unsheathed sword now. Beware the unsheathed sword, which is what they've done. So they've taken that sword out of the scabbard, and I don't think that they realise what it's actually going to lead to. But you've almost got the feminine and the masculine here. New beginnings, new strength, new boundaries being set. And then we have this page, and it's the youth. Do not underestimate the youth carrying this sort of truth with fury in their eyes, if you have a look at that. Fury in their eyes. It's going to be a bombshell. Sorry, it's a bit dark in here, sorry about this, late evening. Bombshell. But a new message, again, the 2 pages. The youth, bringing it forward, moving it forward. Truth and emotion. Then we have this 8 of Cups again, of walking away from what's not serving, walking towards a new beginning. It's going to be an anxious time. There's going to feel a time of loss. But we need to work together to make this happen. Okay, tell me please, will it be reinstated, Maighstir? Will it be reinstated within the next 12, I'll say 12 months, because the changes won't occur until after the election, and then it will take time for things to actually happen and get through. New beginning and working hard behind the scenes. Oh, what's that 3rd card there? And the family. Family values. Now, so those are the 3 cards just thrown out to me when I asked within the next 12 months. Oh, sorry, I've put them upside down. It didn't come out upside down. New beginning in the family. Working hard behind the scenes, but this is setting out on a journey with faith and trust and courage. Courage being the ultimate. Tell me, will women's rights to an abortion be reinstated within the next 12 months? Oh, he's throwing cards out at me everywhere. And we've got this Ace of Pentacles again. I'm going to take that as a yes. Yes, yes, yes. And it all comes down to the voter. Sorry, I'm just reading off the top here. It all comes down to the voter. Victory. Sorry, I'm now going off the base. Victory over this devil energy. But this is, it's going to be after the election. Okay, I'm sorry. I do apologise. I hope I'm not bringing my biases again. I'm pretty sure I'm not at this time. I just feel so heartbroken. I just feel helpless and lost. It's so difficult to get birth control and pregnancy, preventative measures in the United States. So hard to get preventative measures. You don't see the blokes being punished. Well, you do, because this affects men as well as women, but it is women that are in danger, physical danger from this. Apparently miscarriages and ectopic pregnancies and all sorts of nasties, rape, not taken into consideration in regards to this. History has proven that making abortion illegal does not stop abortions. All it does is put the woman's life in danger. Okay, thank you for being with me today. I can feel your love and strength. I just want to cry in regards to this, but please do take on the information, do what you can, stay above falling into the pit of emotions in regards to this. Stay strong and women all over the world are sending our light and love and our support for you. If there is anywhere we can donate funds to help women who perhaps need to travel, please let me know. Do it as a bit of a broken up URL in the comments, otherwise it'll throw it into the spam file. Strengths to you all. United we stand. And love. Thank you to all the men and women who are battling on our behalf for this. Love to you all. Bye bye.